Achieving our dreams and aspirations have long been replaced with simply surviving. That is what we do. But what can be done to turn that surviving into thriving? And there is a way. Now, here to help answer that question is DewPoint founder and senior executive Brendan Benfield. Brendan, it's wonderful to have you this morning, man.
Morning, Ewan. Morning.
Yeah, I think this is a thing. I think most of us South Africans, we watched a little video earlier, it says 90% of South Africans can't afford to retire, which is shocking. Worsening economic situations that we've seen over the past while. South Africans are struggling. Where do we even start? Does budget even play a role nowadays? Can South Africans actually afford to save?
Yeah, no, the question around budgeting, the answer is always, well, no. It makes no difference budgeting in South Africa today. We've got two major problems. We've got diminishing income, and we've got expenditure that's rising by near double digits every year. Just recently, 27th of June, 2023, Stats SA released a whole bunch of new data on the circumstances of South Africans, and them with international analysts are telling us that in every household, on average, there's only one earner. That one earner is earning 25,000 Rand on average, but that household cost on average is 32,000 Rand. That means there's a 7,000 to 10,000 Rand deficit every single month in the average household in South Africa.
Just over a span of 1 year.
See
where you're at.
It puts you in a crazy situation. Budget or no budget, you don't get ahead of it.
That's the thing. I mean, we see people, trying to reach and do multiple things outside of their main job. There's kids, there's schools, there's a lot going on. So budgeting, it really is a difficult situation out there. What options? Now, you in the financial sector, you know exactly what the landscape looks like. You've got the stats. What other options? Are there options available for people to earn rather than incur more debt?
In South Africa, we've got very limited options. If you go overseas, you've got a few more. But in South Africa, you've really got four ways of earning income. One is through a traditional job, and we know that traditional jobs are drying up at a rate of knots in South Africa. The second is what we call transactional income. Transactional income is where you're basically selling your time. Doctors, specialists, you can only sell as many hours as you can work, or commission earners. When you're selling something, you're making some money, but in South Africa, there's less and less people buying. And then the third way is speculation. Sadly, a lot of people move towards speculation. It's crypto, forex trading, share trading,
which is
gambling.
Risky in itself, yeah.
Super risky, got no control over it, requires capital up front. But the solution that most of the world has been implementing over the last 4 decades is self-employment. Sounds complicated, but we're going to kind of break it down today and how we help with that.
100%. Now, we spoke about debt a little bit earlier on, and with that deficit that we see in the monthly income for a single income household earner, the first step is to try and get more money, and you do that by incurring more debt. What's your advice here? How do we turn that around? Yeah. What's the first step?
Well, debt is a tricky thing. As we say, it actually exacerbates the situation. It makes things worse.
Good for the now, but
long term, you're dead. If you're taking out debt to buy things you don't need, you've got to stop. We're living in an economy where we're going to have to become more austere.
Yeah.
But if you're in a situation, which a lot of South Africans are, where debt is how they survive, well, then you're going to have to start doing a few things. First of all, you've got to identify what put you in that position. 9 out of 10 times, it's a poor paying job. People say, but Brendan, I want a job. It's the job that puts you in that position. And then the second thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to start taking control of your income. South Africans haven't done that for many, many decades. They haven't had control of their income. We want to put people back into control of their income. That then gets you ahead of the curve and gets you ahead of your debt.
And that's where it is. It's not about, driving those fancy cars and owning the big houses, knowing that you don't owe any of them. You owe the banks and, the kind of the lending agencies a lot of money. But I want to ask you, DewPoint, that is what we're focusing on this morning. Where does DewPoint fit into the whole picture here?
All right, well, now, DewPoint was formed nearly a decade ago. In fact, we celebrated our 8th birthday yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. The long journey to wealth. And what we did was we sat down and we addressed these issues. A decade ago, these were issues already in South Africa. And we said to ourselves, we have to design a system that gets rid of the things that stop people from becoming self-employed, stop people from taking control of their income, and design something that's going to give them access to that. And that is what we've done with DewPoint. It solves the debt problem. It solves the budgeting problem. But more importantly than anything, it puts people in a position where they can get ahead of their expenditure.
All right. Thank you very much for that. I mean, this is exciting. It sounds interesting. And I know that we didn't give too much away, but we still have 2 more segments coming up this morning. And we're going to be unpacking DuPont just a little bit. But it comes down to choosing an income that you own and control. It is now available for the first time through DuPont. It's time to replace fear of the future with courage of what you can make when you are in control. So what you can do right now, you can visit dupont.net today. Everyone can become income savers in South Africa today. There is a way. Ben, lovely to have you back, my friend. Saving, it's a topic that comes up in many conversations, in many South African households. And when it comes to saving, we tend to think it's only the wealthy that can save. Is this a kind of a true statement, accurate statement, or can anybody actually start saving?
Ewan, the reality is actually at the moment only the wealthy are saving. There are so many circumstances economically that are playing against South Africans. It's making it impossible for them to save. 100 years ago, you could start a career, spend your whole life building that career, and because inflation was so flat and your cost of living was so low, you could save throughout your career and pension yourself at the end. That's an impossibility today. Jobs don't last lifetimes anymore, and inflation is so crazy you can't save anymore. The only way that you can now be considered wealthy and begin to save is if you control your own income.
Yeah, see, and that is the difficult part, because every single cent that we do own or that comes our way is there to plug another hole, or then you go about, you see it's not enough, we incur more debt. Now, for the average South Africans that would like to save, but they cannot. What are some of the options available?
Well, you're going to hear me saying it the whole morning. Control is the critical thing. What South Africans often think is if they can get a better job, they'll be able to save. But a better job still doesn't put you in control. When you have a job, somebody else tells you how much you're going to earn, whether you're going to get an increase, whether you're still hired the next day. People that sell their time, we were talking just right now, Ewan. When you sell your time, it's very limited and anything can derail it. You can get sick, a car accident, COVID can strike. You don't have control over your income. If you want to start saving, you've got to make some decisions about stepping away from what you know and into something that gives you the ability to get ahead of your expenditure.
It's quite funny the way you say control, because it is actually just that. You need to take control, because we do see that. It's like, if only I can get a job that pays better. You're going to get that job that pays better, but it's almost automatic if you don't have the control that your lifestyle adjusts to what you are earning. And at the end of the day, you'll be at the same position where you were 5 months ago.
No, absolutely.
And that is a tough one. It's a tricky one. But South Africans, most of them, we just want a job. All right. But what can we do? We don't necessarily have the necessary skill set or the opportunities. And I think that's also a massive problem facing South Africans.
People are afraid. When we tell them you've got to get self-employed if you're going to get in control of your income, they get terrified, because naturally there's a whole lot of risks, cost, expertise, bureaucracy, all of these sorts of things that keep people away from becoming self-employed. In South Africa today, it's statistically impossible to succeed at a small or medium-sized business. So many fail. So we had to sit down 10 years ago and work out how to solve this for South Africans. And that's what we did. We've removed at DuPont the main stumbling blocks, the main hurdles towards getting South Africans self-employed and in control of their income again. The only cost now at DuPont to become self-employed, the risk you take, is your time and your effort. Those are what we ask of you. But we give you control, something you just don't get in a job, no matter how good the job.
Yeah, you see, you speak about becoming a wealth engineer with DuPont. Now, please unpack that for us. How can the average South African become a wealth engineer? Because we tend to think that wealth is only for the wealthy.
Yeah, well, a wealth engineer is just the term that we give to South Africans that contract with us and start to build their income with us. By becoming a wealth at DuPont, this tool that we've created, you've plugged into a system that now helps you to build an income with us in our business. And this, in effect, gives you that self-employment control. It builds for you an asset, and all of a sudden, you're starting to break the poverty cycle in your life and the life of your family. Because what you build with us will be handed to your spouse and your children when you pass away one day, and they'll be able to build on what you built with us. That's why we called you a wealth engineer. You're actually building, which you were never doing with your traditional job. You were never doing when you were selling your time, and you certainly weren't doing when you were speculating.
Now, look, I know people might be listening and think like, okay, but hang on a minute, This is not something that you step into and all of a sudden you see those things. It's a process, as I understand. What is the average process of something like this once contracting and signing up with DuPont?
Yeah. All right, well, it's easy enough to join with us. Just talk to one of the tens of thousands of wealth engineers around the country at the moment, or alternatively, jump onto our website, www.dewpoint.net, and it'll be able to get you plugged in and you'll be able to start with us. We have a comprehensive training program where we take you from step one. I've never done anything like this before, all the way through to an absolute expert. Our training is world class. We always joke about this. The reason we say it's world class, because we've actually seen our training being used overseas to train people. You get that all included in your system with us at DuPont. You don't have to be worried that you don't have the expertise. It's one of the hurdles we removed with DuPont.
So you just got to take that first step. Brendan, thank you very much. Now, with their primary objective to offer South Africans an affordable opportunity to build a real income for themselves, DuPont is offering a genuine and viable alternative to traditional employment for South Africans who want that economic future of their own design. Now, if, you can visit DuPont, like Brendan said, DuPont.net today to learn more and become a wealth engineer to take back control of your income today. We're talking about solutions that any South African can apply, how owning your own financial freedom can be a reality. And Brendan, you gave us some incredible insights, but now let's get down to it. DuPont, people can go there, check it out, DuPont.net. How does it all exactly work? How can people earn a sustainable income from DuPont? How does it work?
How does it work?
Paint the picture for us.
That's right. What are the brass tacks in this thing?
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned to you just a second ago, DuPont was designed by South Africans in South Africa, understanding the South African circumstances of individuals. So we had that in mind as we built it. We're an insurance business. We work in the financial services segment of the economy. And in that segment, insurance companies build assets, portfolios of individuals who buy insurance products and services, pay for them every month via debit order. So we back to the same people each month to sell to them again. Our products don't wear out, they're not used up, and most of our products are there for life, which means that once we have it, our product, they pay us as the insurance business for decades afterwards. What we did with DuPont is we built a portal into which you as a South African can join us in this market. You're able to create an asset with us at DuPont, one that produces a monthly recurring income, one that lasts your whole lifetime, and is ultimately transferred to your wife and your children and your grandchildren, etc. after that, because it's an asset. Having an asset puts you back in control, which is what we've been talking about this morning. And you decide how big this asset is. Your time, your effort, years, decades of working on it dictates what your income is with us.
And I mean, this is something that you can do pretty much then from anywhere, I suppose.
24 hours a day, anywhere in the country. It's fully online. Everything that you need, you'll find online with us. It means you've got no limitations. You're completely able to leverage yourself. When you've got a traditional job, you know you're earning in the hours you're working. If you're selling your time as a professional, you only have so many hours in a day to sell. But with us at DuPont, you're able to build an income across any hour of the day, any day of the week, anywhere in the country.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people might be listening and saying like, well, this sounds interesting. Could it be too good to be true? Because we know out there's so many different other things out there for people wanting to kind of explore different options of creating an income. How is DuPont different?
Yeah, well, we've got a couple of fundamental differences from all of it. I think the key thing to remember is that we're South African homegrown. You can go find our offices up in Joburg. You can find our licenses online. I think there's no less than about 9 regulators that look after our business. But really the key difference for us is that we believe, and I think it's a factual statement, that we're the only asset-based, monthly recurring income creation system in the country today that doesn't require you to speculate, Forex and all of that sort of stuff, crypto. It doesn't require capital upfront from you, not pouring in money to get on top of it.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's 24 hours a day online. It means anybody can do it, of all walks of life in South Africa, from every corner of the country.
Now, earlier on this morning, you mentioned that you have got thousands of people, that became their own wealth engineers. Firstly, how many? What's the stats?
Well, there's tens of thousands. As I said to you, I think 127,000 wealth engineers have now joined us across South Africa. So you can find tens of thousands of them out there.
Yeah. What are some of the success stories? I mean, if you could highlight one or two, just to give us an idea, an example.
Because there's so many wealth engineers out there, it's actually unfair of me to promote just one or two of them. So what I'm going to basically do is encourage the viewers to jump onto our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, and you'll find hundreds of videos we've made of the thousands of people who have changed their lives. Again, all walks of life. You're going to find people who are from the poorest ends of South Africa through to the wealthiest. You're going to find people who are completely unskilled through to people who are very skilled. DewPoint is not for a certain segment of the economy. It's for every South African. It puts control back in everybody's hands. A couple of the stories that we've had, though, we've had a lady who's now turned 70 that earns more in a month now than she did in an entire year at the peak of her career. We have a young lady who's got 3 children, she's in her 20s, who in the period of 18 months has gone from being in a debt review to now owning her own house, buying her own car, having cleared off all of her debt, and having cleared that whole debt review process right out. That's just incredible. 2 examples. And there's thousands of them at DewPoint. But what we require from you, what we always say, is your time and your energy. This is not a get-rich-quick, it's not a quick fix. It is an opportunity for you to build a new career, one that you're in control of, one that builds an asset, not just a monthly salary.
That is what we are aiming for, to be in control of our situations and to build that assets, because I think that is vital, especially for South Africans. Just quickly, for those people who caught the tail end of this conversation, where can we go find out more info? What should we do?
All right, super easy. Again, find a wealth engineer that you know around the country. They'll get you plugged in. Alternatively, onto our website, www.dewpoint.net. You'll be able to get started from there and do all the training. Jump onto our Facebook and YouTube channels as well for more information. But most importantly, every Tuesday night at 6:30, we do a live stream on our Facebook page where we do a full hour of every detail introducing you to DewPoint with a live Q&A at the end every single Tuesday at 6:30. So you can ask all of your questions to us and we'll answer them for you straight away during that presentation.
Brendan, I'm inspired this morning. I'm going to shake your hand. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you, Ewan.
Really appreciate that. And I really do hope that it sparked a bit of a light bulb moment for some of you out there. Again, thank you very much to Brendan for helping us better understand the country we live in, our economic realities, and what DewPoint is doing to offer solutions to South Africans. So what you can do, just to reiterate, visit DewPoint today, dewpoint.net, to learn more about how take back the control of your income, create an asset that is your own, and determine a different future for yourself and your loved ones.